The stunning success of President Trump's Operation Warp Speed caught Team Apocalypse totally off guard. Don't you love it? Well, now Democrats and their cronies in the media and the medical cartel are scrambling to make sure that their pandemic powers never recede. Just yesterday, Pennsylvania's Secretary of Health threw cold water on hopes of a return to normal anytime soon.
We anticipate, again, that we're going to be rolling this out through the winter and then the spring and into the summer. It could take a significant amount of time to immunize everyone in Pennsylvania. I anticipate that we're going to be wearing masks in 2021, well into maybe to the end of 2021.
Oh, why not say 2024? Now, it's not only Pennsylvania citizens who will be forced to comply for the foreseeable future.
Getting vaccinated with a highly efficacious vaccine does not mean that you're going to completely abandon public health measures.
While this might make your life miserable, it's no big deal to Fauci. In fact, he never really liked the old normal anyway.
I don't think should ever shake hands ever again, to be honest with you. Not only would it be good to prevent coronavirus disease, it probably would decrease the incidence of influenza dramatically in this country.
No hugs, no handshakes, nothing. Plexiglass everywhere. It's a plexiglass world. Joining me now, Dr. Ramin Oskoui, cardiologist and Foxhall Cardiology, CEO of Foxhall Cardiology. Dr. Oskoui, is this what the, quote, science demands? You and I were on this in March when you first came on the Ingraham Angle as part of the original medicine cabinet. They hate the old normal. They hate it.
Well, it is puzzling because we know from the Marine Corps study, CHARM, that masks, social distancing, quarantine don't work. We know the day after I was on Monday that the Danish study, a randomly controlled trial, clearly showed masking doesn't work. I'm really not sure what their point is. They say follow the science, but they don't follow the science. They want us to just simply follow them. It's puzzling and it's disturbing because of the obvious problems that such things as lockdowns and social distancing lead to and the social and economic costs.
Right, but it's gospel now. I mean, if you're outside on a trail running, you'll have people throw themselves off the side of the trail if you're not wearing a mask in the middle of the woods. Okay, people are petrified still. And the New York Times is reporting that the World Health Organization, Dr. O, has rejected the antiviral drug Remdesivir as a COVID treatment. And if you've been listening, of course, to our show, well, you might have known this months ago.
Remdesivir does not work. That third study that Anthony Fauci touted was being a big breakthrough. That has turned out to be a negative study along with the Chinese and the English study. Remdesivir doesn't work. But high-dose, prescription-strength vitamin D does work.
Remdesivir has never shown that it drops viral load. It never shows any mortality benefit.
Now, how does a cardiologist know so much before all of these medical professionals who've been touting Remdesivir, Dr. Oskoui?
I think I have no conflict of interest, number one. And number two is I'm an educated man who can actually read the literature and does so without bias. But I think the point with both Remdesivir, hydroxychloroquine is something very important, and that is centralized planning, just like in economics. In healthcare is a mistake. It leads to magnification of mistaken processes. And in this case, Remdesivir, which has significant side effects as well and is not cheap, was pushed forward. And what really should have happened is you should have been allowed to try that, try hydroxychloroquine, and let crowd wisdom rule. And eventually, we would have come to a much better place than we are now. Most of the world uses hydroxychloroquine to great success. This is medical central planning gone awry.
Yeah, in politics, because Trump was for it, they had to be against it. Now, speaking of President Trump, he signed 2 new regulatory measures today. They didn't get all that much attention, but they're huge, to lower prescription drug costs. Now, one ties Medicare payments for drugs to the lowest price paid among OECD nations, and the other requires drug makers to give rebates to Medicare enrollees. Now, the president commented about all of this today. Watch.
These reforms will save American patients many, many billions of dollars every single year. For generations, the American people have been abused by Big Pharma and their army of lawyers, lobbyists, and bought and paid for politicians.
Now, this is such great news that even the left is happy. And it looks like, I know you suggested reforms like this to the president back in early 2016 during the campaign. So what's your reaction to today's announcement? Took him to get this done.
I'm glad we're finally there. I think that the Democratic platform of, quote, negotiating with drug companies will never come to fruition. There'll be no real negotiation. I think you have to use the Sherman, Clayton, and Robinson-Patman Antitrust Acts and use most favored nation status to force lower drug prices. Americans are being bankrupted by this. Medicare and Medicaid are being bankrupted. I think this is probably one of the areas where Bernie Sanders and President Trump probably find common ground. And as you know, 5 years ago, I pushed this concept hard. And if one Googles my name and most favored nation status, explicitly, it's there on the internet. Some things don't die.
Head of the curve. Once again, Dr. Oskoui.
Head of the curve.
Dr. Oskoui, I'm taking my vitamin D and my zinc every day, and I know
just
all
like
the
Scots do. Yep.
Yeah,
they're doing it in Europe. We should do it here.
Everybody should be taking it. Dr. Oskoui, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you again, Laura.